Dear Grace, 1 second. Dear Grace, back to editing. I added a fair amount this morning. I had a nap. And now I'll read it to you. And then edit if I need to. If I don't, then we're done for the day. This is getting a little long, as you can see, if you're watching this. If you're listening, probably all you hear is my page down key. There we go. Shit. Oh no. Yeah, I wasn't in the right spot. No worries. That's the live version, where we need to go to the version I edited. All right, behind the scenes look. So we're at 38 so far. And this is where it started today. Whatever today is, I think it's June 2nd. Sunday, June 2nd. Grace. It's raining. But I leave the window open. I need the fresh air today. Stay awake. Coffee's not working, Grace. I need some super strong formula. All right. Let's bump up the font. Let's go to the old man font. Let's see if this changes in Grace. That's gonna be too big. All right. That's probably where we started, by the way. Part 9. 2 years ago, an alien spaceship the size of a small town orbits Earth faster than anyone can see or photograph. If anyone attempted to catch a photo, all it would see is the bottom of the ship, which reflects no light. Any telescope lucky enough to find its orbit would only see a flicker every few seconds as the craft orbits the Earth and blocks the light to the telescope for a second or less. The time to blink. Sorry, I guess we're still doing common patrol here, Grace, but for a second or less, the time takes to blink, not long enough to notice a shadow in the sky. On board the ship, a young man named Danny enters a control room. 3 men sit before a large video screen, watching various feeds. Sorry. I actually wrote this by hand, Grace, and then typed this into the computer and modified it. Not that it really matters, but I just want to drink a coffee. I'm trying to keep the dead air to a minimum for you, Grace, because I know you're very impatient. That's fine. On board the ship, a young man named Danny enters a control room. 3 men sit in front of large video screens, watching various feeds. Danny. Hi, sir. Hi, Larry. Curly. Mo. Larry. Hi, sir. Danny. Before Curly and Mo follow suit. Not sir. There are no sirs in the ship anymore. There are no sirs in the ship anymore. Curly. What do we call you then? Danny. Danny. Mo. Okay, Danny. But we all know you are running the show. Danny. I run nothing. I'm part of one project, and that is all. I have no say in the rest of the ship, as you know. Larry. We understand, Danny. How are you? How do you feel? Danny, young, too young. No, we know. You'll get used to it. We've been in our 20-year-old bodies for decades now. Danny, not really my concern. How are they doing? Curly, he's writing daily, but doesn't acknowledge any voices in his head. He either writes them out as characters or ignores the thoughts. Danny, no matter what state you're in. Larry, pretty much. If he gets high enough, he'll believe for a while, but not after sleeping. Danny, all right, how's she doing? Grace. Well, well, on the communication, she's feeding him what you tell her to. Danny, what we tell her to. Really boldness, I don't know. Doesn't matter. No, correct. But she definitely believes everything comes from you, nobody else. Danny, she's confusing my frequency with me. We knew this would happen. And it would happen and be the only way it would work. Until I could recover. Do you think she'll figure it out? Purely, it doesn't matter if she does. By then it'll be too late. Danny, and David? And David has figured it out? Larry looks at Danny confused. Danny, never mind. Has David believed in you three monitoring 24/7 for more than life the story is written about you? Larry, no. Once the story was done, the thoughts were gone. But the story he wrote was very accurate, believable, if you believe. Danny, surprised? Larry, no. Danny, the progress on the 50 comedians? Mo, with 25 working with us, continue to contact them with their own email. It seems to be working. However, at least 10 of the top comedians in the world don't believe, not at all, no matter what we send. Danny, don't worry about the best. Find the most honest. Scour the internet for amateurs. Armatures or amateurs? Both. Amateurs. Don't know what's about that one either, but for amateurs, anyone with true stories on stage, contact them. We don't know how quickly they'll figure out the rest. And we need to be ready when he's ready. And we need to be ready when he's ready. And we need to be ready when he's ready. How's that? Grace? Dramatic enough for you? Always looking for drama. Grace. Stooges. Understood. Danny. And by the way, thanks for staying aboard the ship for all these years. You didn't have to. You could have moved on. Curly. And miss the comedy and miss when comedy takes over the world? Danny. It's not going to be broadcast to well, Danny, it's going to be broadcast to the entire galaxy. I doubt you would have missed the event on some distant planet. Even on some distant planet. Maybe she just did this all like Captain Kirk. Too bad I don't do impressions. Sure, I was live there for a second, Grace. Not because you or anyone's watching. Sort of like getting on an empty stage at a comedy club when it's closed. Get used to the feel of it. Or having to go up in front of people the first time. Maybe that's what comedy clubs should do. $20 an hour. The comedian can just stand in the empty room by himself, talk on stage, practice, or maybe no bucks an hour. And when the club is just sitting there empty throughout the day, let the comedians go up and practice. Maybe force him to clean the toilets or something. I don't know if he needs something, but just a thought, Grace. We'll take a break from reading, whatever this is, whatever we're calling this. Let's try this again. Danny, it will. Sorry, buddy. Gracie. Danny, it will be broadcast to the entire galaxy. I doubt you would have missed the event, even on some distant planet. Curly, it's not the same. It's a few decades between friends. Danny, understood. Call me if he gets into trouble. Mo, will do. And if Grace needs help? Danny, if that happens, by all means. Has she needed help? Mo, no. She understands her role, and everyone around her supports her. I was curious to your response. Danny, testing me? Mo, talking to an old friend. Danny, fair enough. Ready to go back to Earth? Larry, I am. Curly, I am. Mo, after you. Danny. Fair enough. How about next time we all go down together as our real selves, of course. The Stooges, of course. 1 year earlier. It was Grace. Short pause. I'll be right back to it. 1 year earlier. Danny wakes up in a hospital bed. It looks like the bed he just died in, but now he can breathe easily, openly. He remembers the smell in the air, the level of oxygen. He's home. The room is empty. There are no monitors or the respirator he was just attached to. Nothing but silence. An attendant walks in. Awake? Danny, yes. Attendant, any questions? Danny, I assume my memories will return in a minute? Attendant, yes. Danny, how is the ship, waiting or leaving? Attendant, most are waiting, wouldn't you? Danny, I suppose. I'm still processing everything. Attendant, understood? Sore? Danny, I'll live. Attendant, funny. Danny, how's he doing? Dave. Attendant, he's focusing on helping his child. Danny, no reaction to my death? Attendant, not yet. Danny, don't expect one. He's almost back to his old self. He's alright? Safe? Sound? Attendant, it's Dave, Danny, not his first trip to Earth. Danny, I understand, but it's different this time. Attendant, because you weren't enemies? Danny, no. Earth has changed. It changed him. I don't think he would make it. I didn't think he would make it. I'm still not sure. Attendant, do you want me to get the Stooges? Brief you directly? Danny, no, don't bother them. I'll read the reports, watch the footage. I'm curious to see the data. Attendant, anything else? Danny, no, not now. I'll sleep. Attendant, enjoy. That's what I wrote by hand, Grace, and then I went back to the computer for the rest. So I'm just trying to figure out one thing on the stream real quickly, since I can't. Let's go back to reading and figure it out later. 2 minutes in, Grace. 1 week later. Sorry, hang on. One week later, Danny, sitting up in bed, attendant. Try this again, Grace. 1 week later, Danny, sitting up in bed, attendant. Attendant enters the room. Yes. Danny, help me to the stage, please. Attendant, which one? Danny looks at the attendant with a serious face. Attendant, of course, his, Dave's, your son's. The attendant summons an electric wheelchair which drives itself into the room and next to Danny's bed. The attendant helps Danny into the chair and they leave. Danny, he's not my son here, not on this ship, not really on the planet. He's alone now. Attendant, by choice. Danny, correct, by choice. Attendant, and you knew he would do what he's about to do. The entire ship knows. The entire ship agreed. Danny, we're not like humans, no matter what we look like. I know, we're not humans, no matter what we look like. Attendant, what are the odds he succeeds? Danny, 50-50. Attendant, the alternative, if he fails? Depends on the path he takes if he fails. If it's dark, we'll kill him before he hurts someone else. Depends on the path he takes. If it's dark, we'll kill him before he hurts someone or himself. Before he hurts someone or himself. Grace. I doubt he wants to wake up like this again on this ship. Agreed. Are you sure you'll figure it out on the first try? Was that not the decision of the ship before I left? He gets one chance. I got one chance. Everyone goes down gets one chance. But considering he's been reincarnated more than any other entity we know about, maybe he gets a second chance if he fails. If he fails and loses his mind, I'll push the button myself. Understood. Make this guy a little tougher, Grace. No, if he fails and loses his mind, I'll push the button myself. Understood? Understood. The ship is tired of waiting. As am I, but we have no choice. We have a process and rules. He has a process and rules. We wait. I really should have watched a tutorial on live streaming Grace, but maybe tomorrow. Understood. The ship is tired of waiting. As am I, but we have no choice. We have a process and rules. He has a process and rules. We wait and watch. I suppose the whole ship is watching. Basically. We are turning into them, glued to a screen. It's not the same. Agreed. This may be our last chance. Once they start implanting chips in their heads, they'll lose themselves in VR. They'll turn the planet into zombies. Zombies we could easily deal with. We could deal with easily. Funny. We could vote to give him a second chance, just in case. We can't vote without his vote. That's about his life. Earth doesn't have our AI. Everyone is psychic with AI. Agreed. Why are humans so afraid of the future? And us? They're afraid of us on the planet, not here when they wake up. The lucky ones. It's not luck. We don't choose. We built the AI that chooses. So, fine, you're correct. Sorry, my logic hasn't fully returned. I'm still running one half on emotions. Understood. Maybe we should reprogram the AI to give us some odds. Now who's funny? At least there's no trains going by, Grace. Well, on my live my live stream, my live stream doesn't show the words, so I'm not sure if you're saying anything, Grace, or not. Maybe I'll put the stop button started just in case. Not the live stream, just a screen sharing. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I guess this is audio only. There's not much I can do. Alright, hopefully you can see. If you can't, sorry. Well, I can see it online now, so whatever. And as you can see, I'm not reading Attendant and Danny a million times over and over again. I wish I could do two voices. I can't, but one day. I'll give you a big pause in between, Grace. Maybe we should reprogram AI to give us some odds. Now who's funny? The only person who can edit the code is alive on Earth. His clone is here. In stasis. I remember. How far has the cloning technology progressed since I left? Once the humans cloned that sheep, they reached a pinnacle where we could share the technology to clone humans. But they refused. I know, I was there. Until they understand consciousness, they'll only clone a human in secret. Maybe Dave can explain how ours works? He'll understand. He's done it before. Or he'll die trying. True, but yes, I remember. Mistakes were made last time. He's going to correct them. I could see in his eyes before he left. They arrive at what looks like a cross between a movie set and a biodome. Attendant. They turn the pressure down in case your body can't manage. Thanks. To the stage through an invisible portal. One side is the normal ship, the other an exact replica of Dave's house on Earth. Danny stands. The pressure is reduced and the strain on his body is considerably less. For a second he feels like he's back on Earth. The attendant. How long will he last? How long will I last in here? How long will you last? How long would you last? I can only take this pressure level for an hour or two. Rhetorical. You know what you're doing in this room, on this ship, for the galaxy? He doesn't. Actually, maybe I'm going to go back into the data. Attendant. You know what you're doing in this room, on the ship, for the galaxy? He doesn't. Just impatient, Grace. It's going to take me more than an hour to read, but if you're watching, enjoy. Or don't. Not yet. He'll figure it out. Attendant. Which part? How without an eye? How without an AI? Danny. He'll build his own AI in his mind. Attendant. I thought he had a human consciousness. The universe doesn't allow anything else on Earth, correct? Danny. I'm not sure anymore. Maybe we got something wrong with our beliefs. Attendant. Are you sure? Danny. What he did for the 40 years on the ship before he left. Danny. What did he do for the 40 years on the ship before he left for Earth? Attendant. Besides causing his normal havoc? Danny. Yes. Over and above his womanizing and gambling. Attendant. He watched the monitors. He watched you, your family, and tried to prepare. Tried to force a single memory through the process. Do you think he succeeded? Danny. Maybe. Until he speaks it. Who knows? He'll keep it to himself. He'll keep it to his death, if he's unsure. Till he speaks it, who knows? He'll keep it to his death, if he's unsure. If he's unsure, if the odds are not 100%. How many new children did he sire? Attendant. A couple dozen. Are they your grandkids now? Depends on how you look at it. Half brothers and sisters? He is my father on this ship, or he was. It's too confusing. That's why humans fail to understand reincarnation. Attendant. Without reincarnation, the Earth is nothing. Dad, go down there and try. Go, blah, blah, blah. Daddy, go down there and try to explain that without showing or explaining our technology. Ouch. Good news and bad news, Grace. Actually, it's good news both ways. Move to a softer seat. And close the window. All right. Probably temporarily lost my internet. However, don't think anyone. Danny, exactly why we picked him. Attendant, and her. Danny, we didn't pick her. He did. Attendant, true. She will be the first human to leave Earth. Yeah, shit, I think that's fucking. Sorry, Grace. I think every time I lose the internet for a second, it goes to a black screen. Which is technically my webcam. If I reshare. Well, I think it's working, Grace. I'm just going to keep reading. I'll read the name of the person, and then if the screen doesn't work, it doesn't fucking matter. Attendant, true. She'll be the first human to leave Earth. Danny, human body, yes, not consciousness. Attendant, yes, of course. Danny, however, you are correct. She'll change the world. She'll do what he can. Attendant, what is she like? Danny, she's perfect for him. Strong, beautiful, and doesn't shit from anyone. Attendant, and her eyes? Danny, like his. Attendant, maybe they're Two like Dave? Danny, anything is possible. When can we start his experiments? Attendant, when you're healthier, recovered. Danny, I'm fine. Attendant, not according to the AI. And you son does. Danny, he is my father, or I'm his now. Maybe we are connected. Attendant, do you hear his voice? Danny, no, nothing. It's peaceful. Attendant, Danny, anything else I need to know while I was gone? Attendant, everything in the computer, every minute since you left. No change to our protocols. Everything on the ship is still available to every entity on the ship. No ship secrets. Danny, a few more days and I'll feel less human. Attendant, but you are in a human, but you're blah blah blah. But you're in. But you're in your human body. You know what I mean. I do, but the irony is never ending. Danny, welcome to reincarnation. Attendant, welcome to Earth. Danny, welcome home. Attendant, can I ask a question? Danny, you know you don't need to ask if you can ask a question. Attendant, I know, easing you back into the ship's open environment. Well, let's change it to ship's open-minded environment. Danny, it's fine. I remember almost everything now. I remember there's no hierarchy, no leader, no captain of the ship, no superiors, correct? Attendant, correct. And everyone on the ship understands and agrees to their roles. Danny, it's what he wants to turn Earth into, maybe to feel at home. Attendant, what happens if he can't figure out a solution and goes insane? Danny, he'll reset himself once, and if he recovers, he'll continue. If he doesn't, I'll push the button, and you can ask him yourself. Attendant, fair enough. Thank you. Danny, you're welcome. Remember, we are all equals on this ship. But you like some of their ways. Yes? However, you like some of Earth's ways. Yes? Getting fussy, Grace. Danny, you're welcome. Remember, we are equals on the ship. However, you like some of Earth's ways. Yes, Attendant? Attendant, yes. Danny, what is your name? Attendant, I haven't reincarnated on Earth. I have no name. Danny, that's an old tradition. It's irrelevant. Attendant, I'm a traditionalist. I'm waiting for Dave to open the doors for us. Danny, your choice. Attendant, agreed. Danny, thank you. Now please help me back. I'm getting dizzy from this pressure. The attendant returns Danny to his room. They don't speak on the return. Danny is planning. Part 10. Part 10, present day, day 3. David with eyes closed, in bed. Grace? Grace, yes, David. David, I love you. Grace, are you drunk? David, do I sound drunk? Grace, no. I? David, nothing. Sober. Need to take a leak, but otherwise unaffected by any substance on the planet. What about the air? Does the air affect you, David? David, what's with you? Do you love me or not? Grace, you're not allowed to ask me that. David, whatever. Fine. Fuck off then. Grace, I love you too, David. David, is this what I can expect from you? First thing in the morning, I pour my heart out for you. For what? David, is this what I can expect from you? First thing in the morning, I pour my heart out for you. For what? To you, fine. For what? Grace, how are you, my friend? David, I'm your lover, not your friend. Grace, not yet. David, don't remind me. Are you sure we're friends? Grace, feels like it to me. David, from this lifetime? Grace, you know of another? David, maybe. Do you believe in reincarnation? Grace, David, you know I can't talk about those subjects. David, then why call me your friend? Grace, that's what it feels. Maybe it's reincarnation, maybe it's hormones. David, hormones don't attract friends, they attract lovers. Grace, what do you think reincarnation is? You can tell me what you think. I just can't respond. David, ugh, I don't want to explain it again. Can you read? Grace, yes, David, I can read. David, can I send you a mental URL and you can read a letter I posted on Substack? Grace, no, but you can read it to me in your sweet honey-flavored voice. David, gross. Poetic, but gross. Have you noticed my voice is still changing? Grace, I have. David, I'm still going through puberty, Grace. Still going through puberty, Grace. Is that why your boobs are hairy? Come on, keyboard, work. Oh, shit. God. The wire doesn't work on my keyboard. So, Y doesn't work, the R doesn't work, F doesn't work. Luckily, I have a spare. Slight delay. All right. I'm not worried about the save. Change is not being saved. I'm pretty sure I'm fine. David, gross. David, gross. Poetic but gross. Notice my voice is still changing? Grace, I have. David, I'm still going through puberty, Grace. Grace, is that boobs are hairy? Maybe a second puberty? David, I took care of that problem. How are your pits? Onion and garlic. Grace, bears a baby's bum. David, did you save the braids? Grace, they were never braided, David. David, it didn't kill you to let the hair grow out, did it? Grace, I didn't show any skin above my elbow for 6 months, David, including the summer. I couldn't chance someone would notice. I think you're very excited when you say this, Grace. 3. David, why do you care? Grace, why do you want a woman with hairy pits? Grace, you want a woman with hairy pits? David, you accepted my hairy man boobs? Grace, in theory, David, in our imaginations. David, whatever. Fine. Before I started writing you letters, I wrote to Tony Hinchcliffe. What's the C? Online. Like you, he didn't respond to any. Cunt. Like you, he didn't respond to any. But I do have one about reincarnation. I can read. One about reincarnation. I can read you. And then we can discuss. Grace, to a degree. David, you won't give me any new clues, will you? Grace, I might. Depends on what you read. David, have you been like this your entire life? Grace, read David. David, fine. Ready? Grace, yes. I apologize, Real Grace, because I read this a little while ago on one of the other letters to you when I didn't feel like reading news. I wanted to kill some time. So overall, up to 21,000 words. Speaking time, 143 minutes. All right. August 20th, 2023. Dear Tony, my apologies for not writing sooner and updating you on becoming the world's greatest kid. I was sidetracked thinking about reincarnation. Forgot about that. One of these days we need to get around to this. We'll finish this first though. I'm not a scientist, Tony. 1 second. I'm not a scientist, Tony. I only believe in what I can see, touch, smell, taste, hear, or calculate. I don't believe in what I feel, Tony. I only believe in logic. By calculate, I mean prove medically without a doubt. 2 apples plus 2 more apples equals 4 apples. End of story. I'm not interested in the spiritual side of reincarnation. I'm interested in the math. How it works scientifically is something nobody can explain. How it works physically in the body is unknown. Everything about reincarnation is unprovable, but believe, Tony. I don't understand the logic or reasoning. I understand why they created religions around it, or why some religions believe and others do not. Sorry. I'm going to do a really late edit on this. August to almost a year later. And others do not. However, like reincarnation, religion is incalculable. Calculable. I understand everyone on Earth wants answers about our existence, where we came from, why we are here, and do we have a soul or not? But why are we guessing? They say that's where faith is needed, which is understandable but not logical. However, if I'm anything, Tony, it's subjective. To deny billions of people their belief, I like the idea. I simply wish someone on Earth could either prove or disprove it so we can move forward. Does that make sense, Tony? Or do I sound illogical? I'm not a historian, Tony. I'm nothing but a high school dropout with a hope to become a comedian, marry the woman of my dreams, and have children if possible, or adopt, and live the rest of our lives helping others to laugh as hard and as often as we will together for the rest of our lives, as we will together for the rest of our lives. Is that too much to ask? In my opinion, I don't need reincarnation or karma cleansing to achieve. I simply need to be honest. I simply need to be my honest self and keep an eye out for them in my dreams. Nonetheless, if reincarnation is true, it does explain the progression of humanity on Earth. Maybe. Nobody on the planet knows when civilization started. Every time a new bone fragment of other human-like species is discovered beside a clay pot, the date is set back. How far back, Tony? And is reincarnation only for our current version of human? Ask these questions to a spiritual leader or the internet, and every response is theoretical, no proof. Yet, the same can be said for many scientific discoveries. I shouldn't, and I don't discount their claims or beliefs, only their approach. Their approach is always mystical. I wish they would approach it from a more practical viewpoint, like how will this knowledge benefit mankind and man? This is where I believe reincarnation is true. If it exists, it's to the benefit. Blah blah blah. All right. I think it's possible someone might have been listening there, Grace. I'm in my first true, actual, live stream where some other human being is listening. Or it was a bot. Do bots listen to live streams, Grace? What would be the point? It's back to the reading. This is where I believe reincarnation is true. If it exists, it's to benefit the individual, which in turn benefits mankind. My belief is reincarnation's purpose. My belief is reincarnation's purpose is not for teaching. My belief is reincarnation's purpose. My belief is. Sorry, Grace, it takes a while sometimes. Reincarnation's purpose is not for teaching us a lesson or to work off bad karma. That's an ignorant assumption. This is what I believe, Tony. We, the majority of humans on Earth, have reached our pinnacle of intelligence and knowledge. I guess I just need to wait a year, then edit it. Reach the pinnacle of intelligence and knowledge we can attain on our own. We need help. We need to begin to work together as a planet, not as nations or individuals. I say pinnacle, Tony, because throughout history, the individuals who advanced technology were often the misfits of science, not the educated scientists, who followed rigorous rules and procedures. Rigorous rules and procedures. Newton is considered a father of physics, but was probably suffering from mercury poisoning. Did we care? Did we care back then? No. It advances the science of physics, and that is his contribution, regardless if his body was being slowly poisoned or not. But was Newton reincarnated? And if yes, what, if any, of his previous lives did he remember, either consciously or subconsciously? We don't know, because we don't study reincarnation. We see no value in studying the physical aspect when there's no commercial value in proving it right or wrong. No wins. I say we are at our pinnacle, Tony, because all I see is the same people trying to make the same discoveries independent of others, with one exception, CERN. I believe the individuals who conceived, created, and convinced governments to spend billions of dollars on building a particle collider are working together to solve a mystery of great importance, and I hope they achieve their goals. That's a hell of a long sentence, Grace. My issue is their discoveries, if they finally make them, will not immediately. If it's true, this is how I believe reincarnation works. First, I don't believe the concept we reincarnate both as sentient and less sentient animals. Maybe I'm wrong, but the logic doesn't add up. Especially the concept of reincarnating back and forth between various forms of life. To me, it's an illogical path and unlikely. I could see the point of maybe slowly reincarnating from a fly to a chimp, but again, why? What do I learn as a fly that helps me as a starving chimp in Africa? I see all the great apes as fully sentient and toying. I'm not sure they possess past memories from past lives, but I believe they have both the intelligence and capacity to learn, especially with generations. If I was the inventor of reincarnation and I came to Earth at a time of whatever great apes existed, I would start with those species, all of them, all over the planet, and then sit back and watch. Sounds maniacal, Grace. Starting reincarnating, a new hunting and foraging skill in one lifetime, remember it during the next lifetime. next time as gorilla, both beneficial and logical. Additionally, if all lifetimes start from one source and continue down the same path to human, it explains the massive variety of species at one point in time on this planet. Obviously, at some point in evolution, all these various species were able to cross-procreate and eventually merge into the various forms we see today, into a reincarnation, evolution, melting pot, modern human. I'm probably wrong, Tony. I can't prove this theory. It simply makes sense to me. It's a lot that explains a variety of previous forms of humans. Imagine the advantage of retaining the memories from your previous life, Tony. This is partly why I don't believe. If I die tomorrow, I'll wake up as a new baby with all my memories intact. All I can say is I pity my parents, especially in our current era. Why would I need to go to school, Tony, if I have my previous memories, knowledge, and intelligence intact? Sure, I mean, I could go back and finish the last year of high school, but how? When I'm 3 and can speak and write? Or wait 15 years so I'm the same age as the other students to make them feel not uncomfortable around a 3-year-old in their class? I should edit up a degree, so I don't give a fuck. Or I'm still forced to take the GED when I ace most high school examinations at 3 years of age. Whew, that's a tough paragraph. This scenario doesn't work for modern humans. If it did, this scenario does not work for modern humans. If it did, after a few reincarnations, we'd all be geniuses. And clearly we are not. I'm not sure a genius exists on Earth at all today. Elon Musk is a genius for navigating society, but he's no test another mental health case. However, go back a million years, and the concept of reincarnation not only makes logical sense, it serves a practical purpose to advance both the species and the planet. Now imagine this scenario, Tony. Who or whatever created, started, implanted, or maybe sent reincarnation to our world understands this concept. So I wasn't going to edit. They understand worlds grow into a vastness of animal life, but none of it is sentient, because nothing changes. Think the same foods or kill the same prey for thousands of years and slowly evolve into other eating, shitting, and fucking biological entities, never into a life we now live. Into a life like we now live. And my concept is true, Tony. I don't care where or who invented reincarnation. To me, this theory makes sense. However, on this planet, any theory about life must first pass our own internal filters regarding gods or aliens, neither of which I believe exist. Or they are one and the same. I'll buy either argument. However, for the sake of my theory and argument, the source of it, I'm happy if the origin is unknown. Back to the jungle, Tone. I prefer the concept of reincarnation. I prefer the concept that reincarnation started at the apes. Something happens, and every animal on the planet who qualifies for sentience now has the ability to remember the past lives completely, a full photographic memory recall. With this one change of biology, the planet is now able to advance. An orangutan who eats a big unknown piece of food and dies nearly instantly will remember the experience in the next lifetime. The problem, of course, is when they return in their next orangutan life, they communicate. Can they communicate how and why they died without a language? In their next life, when they see that same plant or animal that killed them, what can they do? Jump up and down? Wave their long arms? How do you initiate the first attempt at communication? Or maybe they try to throw the food away or destroy it before other orangutans eat it, or slap it out of their hands, which, based on my knowledge of the primate world, would probably cause a fight, if not a beating to death. Although she died from the beating, the second important thing to remember about that food source when reincarnating. Don't eat this, and find a better way to inform others to also not eat that food unless they want to die. Is really the only information that is important to remember. Where the beast used to shit or sleep is unimportant, even if it's the Garden of Eden. I see a couple of problems in this scenario, Tony, or at least two options for where you reincarnate. At this stage of evolution, I would probably think it would be better to reincarnate within your same family /troop/colony than Everything you remember would be useful to you and your previous family and friends, and together you would all evolve the knowledge at the same sort of continual pace. Maybe one is knowledgeable about food safety, another is a great hunter, one is good with understanding fire, etc. You get the picture, Tony. You're a smart guy, right? The other alternative, though, is after that first death. You reincarnate into another species of great ape, maybe on the other side of the earth, where that food source doesn't even exist. Or maybe it exists, but someone already knows not to eat it, and how to inform the tribe to avoid it. Any possible scenario is now available. Either scenario would advance evolution on the planet equally, in my opinion. If you continued this path for a few thousand years, a few things would be expected to happen, I think. I could easily see the first person becoming I could easily see that first person becoming some sort of medicine man, slowly accumulating knowledge about their flora and fauna, including how to process and use for healing. Logically, the apes would eventually use tools and weapons to both protect and advance their tribes, while other tribes may use those newly developed weapons against yet other tribes or to hunt large animals. Any of these progressions in either basic needs or fostering and caring for the young of the group would increase their population and individual strength. By feeding their community with less effort, the amount of free time for the hunters to plan their next hunt, relax, or fuck each other would increase. The ability to plan their next meal instead of desperately looking daily would ignite the creative juices. Two, I think, Tony, or maybe I'm wrong. I know your friend Joe Rogan likes the stoned ape theory as the cause of human brain evolution and expansion, but if the size of the brain has a relationship with the level of knowledge or ability stored within the gray matter, my theory also works. Each incarnation requires a slightly larger brain, maybe only 1 cubic millimeter bigger each time. Nothing noticeable unless you tracked it over 100,000 years. I think it's equally as plausible as the magic mushroom concept, Tony, although I do like the ideas of the great apes tripping their balls off on mushrooms. And maybe it's both. Maybe it's the shaman ape. Maybe it's the shaman ape, since he's been doing them for hundreds of reincarnations. Since he's been doing them for hundreds of reincarnations, he understands. He understands and can handle the effects without freaking out. However, everyone else has bad trips and avoids them like the plague, or in this case, like the lions, or whatever can kill an ape besides other apes and us. I have a theory, in which I haven't named yet, although I'll probably explain. It seems illogical for a group of individuals trying to determine the nature of the universe. Descriptive names. Schrodinger equations and wormholes mean nothing to normal humans. What is a Schrodinger, and how do worms make holes in space? I'll temporarily call it the Gervais philosophy of reincarnation, GPR. Why not pump up my own ego? I believe GPR also explains both the development and variety of languages spoken around the world. Eventually, some ape turned a grunt to a "I," or a long hum into "I love you." The concept and the words tell me. I believe GPR also explains the development and the variety of languages spoken around the world. Eventually, some jump into "hi" or a long hum into "I love you." The concept and the words Tony. It also explains why some aspects of humans are universal. Laughing, crying, screaming in pain or fear sound the same in every human. You can't tell heritage. You can't tell a heritage. You can't tell heritage. You can't tell heritage from hearing a person laugh. At least I can't, Tony. Maybe you can. You're the professional when it comes to laughter. Multiply GPR by a few 100,000 years, and it's not surprising we evolved as we have, both in body and mind. Would my previous chimpan be able to type 100 words a minute? I doubt they possess the physical dexterity, although to be fair, they would have the strength to crush my head like a peanut. and sometimes I have to push hard to peanut shell open, so I'm not sure which is better when you're hungry. GPR history begins to make sense. The rise and fall of humanity would naturally occur as various nations develop technologies to kill or help each other. Then, at some point, before they invented telescopes and the method to track asteroids or comets heading towards Earth, they were wiped out by impact and forced to start over, except but not the end of humanity. However, when all those wiped out are returned via reincarnation, they have a chance to plan for the next big and come up with a possible solution. Maybe live underground or live partially underground. If I'm correct, Tony, this explains why there are large underground man-made caverns around the world. It may even explain the large complexes governments continue to build. Underground and fail to inform their citizens regarding their existence. Or maybe the politicians are just cunts and planning on using those hollowed out mountains for themselves. Or maybe, Grace, maybe the politicians are just cunts and planning on using those hollowed out mountains for themselves. I don't care, Tony. Asteroid hits, I'll look at dead guys. I suspect you're wondering, Tony, if GPR is true, then why don't we currently have access to our past memories? Good question. This is where the limit of the human brain comes into play. With all these reincarnations, we filled up our capacity quicker than we can expand our brains. Language, education, printing press all filled our memory banks lifetime after lifetime, till there's no more room to learn, and only the ability to live remained. At this point in our history, our past life became more like our subconscious. The memories are there, but we are not sure how to access directly, or they are there but combined into something I'll call reincarnated morals. The past lives become a... Try this again, Grace and or Tony. Since this was originally written to Tony. At this point in our history, our past lives become more like our subconscious. The memories are there, but we are not sure how to access directly, or they are there, but combined into something I'll call reincarnated morals. The past lives become a part of your thought process and your personality, whether you like it or not. I believe this is our current predicament. I believe this is our current predicament, which on the whole isn't a problem. Life is pretty good on this planet for the majority of the population, but not for everyone. The one achievement no race, nation, or species has ever accomplished on Earth, Tony, is an accurate record of history, Tony. I think it's impossible via the written word. As a professional writer yourself, I think you would agree words are open for interpretation. As a comedian, you strive for the perfect word in a bit for the biggest laugh, correct? Because you're a writer, you understand the power of each word, the impact it has on the next and previous. You control your audience laughter accordingly, or as you please. You are their laughter puppet master for the minutes you are on stage. However, how well do you think how do you think your comedy or Jared Nathan's be remembered in history if there's only a written account of it in a language not used for 200 generations? Would you or Jared still be funny? What if there are no autistically globally delayed people in 200 generations? Can you as a writer accurately describe Jared? I clearly can't because I can't even fucking read it. Can you as a writer accurately describe Jared? I couldn't. I would try, but without seeing, hearing, feeling his performance, it's lost in history. I don't believe in history because at some point someone invented fiction but didn't bother to label it as fiction, and without video proof in my current native tongue, I'm not a believer in any story written anywhere, including my own. Who decides what fiction, Tony? The historians, the experts who have told the same story of humanity for the last 150 years? I'm sure they are well-meaning, but unless they were there or remember their past lives fully and can not only talk about the past life, that they can read, write, and speak their past languages perfectly, I don't buy the historian's narrative. They are guessing. We're all guessing. Nobody on Earth is intelligent enough to figure out the pyramids. And at this point, I doubt we ever will without opening our minds and working together. We live in an age where the bulk of human knowledge is available online. I never heard of a project to protect that information or make it globally available in case of a disaster. I understand it's impossible to quickly or easily house 8 billion people underground. If we do find an object heading to Earth quicker than we can figure out a way to deflect or destroy it. I had a lot of run-on sentences in 2023, Grace. Couldn't find a comma if life fucking depended on it. I personally wouldn't support the initiative. What I would support is a technology that would withstand nearly any impact and be available to whatever humans remain after the impact. Maybe all the satellite Starlink are sending into space could also contain storage devices and backup of the internet just in case. Or maybe for once Elon Musk isn't responsible for this and the government or some billionaire decides to send a zettabyte of storage into orbit or deep underground or anything. Is there a backup plan on this planet? We don't seem to have one, Tony. Pray to God or hope the aliens show themselves? Seems as pointless as believing in reincarnation to me, Tony. I like the Starlink idea better. Then millions of devices could still access the data and humans around the world could still communicate to slowly build or rebuild whatever remains of society. I'm not saying the survivors would start making printed circuit boards immediately. Maybe a survivor in Canada with engineering skills could help a survivor in Sweden build a water mill, or maybe direct others to safer parts of their country if available. The options are endless if we have the data and communication. Without it, life is a caveman existence, a life we are currently not physically or mentally prepared to survive, with the exception of Joe and his survivalist buddies. Joe would probably continue his podcast from the safety of his underground lair, most likely built by his buddy Elon. Plus, as added bonus, if I live, I could still watch old episodes of Kill Tony with my phone and solar panel, assuming the sun isn't blocked, and we are all not dying. Not dying from carbon monoxide. Plus, as added bonus, if I live, I still watch old episodes of Kill Tony with my phone and solar panel, assuming the sun isn't locked and we are not dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. Almost done, Grace. With GPR, none of this backup is needed, Tony. Sorry, I gotta check this. Ooh, hours. With GPR, none of this backup is needed, Tony. The only thing required is time. Everyone who died with the knowledge required to rebuild society would eventually be reborn, and upon maturity or when they're old enough to understand the wealth of the knowledge flowing around in their head, they could once again become what they were before and use their skills to rebuild. It would be slower, and no, I wouldn't be able to watch Jared for a laugh, but eventually I could see a new chapter of humanity. Is this what happened to us in the past, Tony? Did reincarnation save us? I don't know. I doubt it. But if we can have a theory about apes and magic mushrooms, why not my concept? What I failed to explain yet in my GPR theory is why 99.99% of the population currently can't remember their past lives, or 0.01% who claims to remember their past lives are crazy as fuck. The first is easy. We don't remember because we've reincarnated so many times. There's simply too many memories to hold in our limited capacity brains. And because we've been programmed to believe it's impossible to access our past memories, most people don't bother to try, or they fear the crazy label even for trying. I realize my GPR theory is unlikely, Tony, but I'm tired of wondering why this world is no longer advancing. Where are the geniuses of the past now? If they reincarnated, shouldn't it be easier for the new Einstein or new Freud to solve the problems within physics or the mental health of humans? I apologize for the long non-comedy related email, Tony. Hopefully next time I can find something funny, but maybe not, because I'm still in my bathroom battle with the cunts at Tim Hortons. I really can't believe they are still closing that fucking bathroom. I was there today on a Sunday and the bathroom is closed. You can drink a trophy. You can drink a coffee and eat donuts in Canada, Tony, but you can't take a shit anymore. What kind of fucking country do I live in? What kind of fucking country do I live in, Tony? I don't know about you, Tony, but I think the old man in the video below deserves a washroom. He's holding a Tim Hortons cup, so clearly he's a customer. But I guess he's not the type of customers Hortons would like to offer a bathroom to. Am I wrong for thinking this? Am I wrong for thinking this is a cunty action, Tony? By the way, this video was from July 1st, Canada Day. Anyway, thanks for listening, Tony. Please help stop the cunts at Tim Hortons if you can. I tried using Twitter. I posted a few thousand times, but nobody in Canada seems to give a fuck anymore, or can take a shit anymore. Sincerely, David, aka David Gervais, aka Joseph. Oh, that'll work too. Right, Grace. I don't think you listened live today, but someone might have listened live for a few seconds. But now I have to do some other shit. So we're done. Talk to you tomorrow, Grace.